Hi everyone, and welcome to week 4 of our Advent adventures. Once again we'll have a candle lighting, a story, which is quite a lovely story about a Christmas cat, and then a Christmas craft, and lastly a song that Sue and I wrote to go with the book. Our theme this week is love, and also some fun. When you think of animals, you always have fun, hence my crazy headdress. So I thought I'd begin with a fun, upbeat Christmas song called Milikaliki Maka. I hope you enjoy.
Hello. As a part of our Advent series of videos, we are including the lighting of our Advent candles and a prayer. Before we get started, I wanted to invite you, if you have one, to grab your Advent wreath and light it as we make our way to the fourth candle, which represents God's love. If all you have is a regular candle, light that and welcome God's love into your presence this day. As we move towards the last Sunday in Advent, we come nearer and nearer to the night of that wonderful miracle, God breaking into the world, not in power, but in the frame of a child. In this, God shows us how worthy of trust that we really are. Before we light this fourth candle to symbolize that love and trust, let us look back on the journey and what carried us to this day. We started with hope, that first light that scattered darkness this season. We continued, seeking a peace beyond measure, a presence beyond compare. We danced with the flame of joy that burns in us at the news of Christ's arrival. And now finally, with hearts full to bursting, we light this candle to represent God's love and trust for us. Let us pray. God of eternal love, the love we learn about at Advent is a true, strong, selfless, heartfelt love, which shows itself by giving to others with no expectation of anything in return. We need guidance to be able to express this kind of love to others all through the year. Open the floodgates of our hearts, that we might offer to all the fullness of our love, as Christ did for us, as He does for us, as He will do for us. Let this be so through this season and beyond. Amen.
This week's book is The Very Best Christmas Present, written by Jim Razzie and illustrated by Henry Fernandez. One snowy morning, a few weeks before Christmas, Mr. Flugel's doorbell rang. It was the mail carrier. He had a big orange cat in his arms. "Is this your cat?" asked the mail carrier. "I found it in your mailbox." "No," said Mr. Flugel, "I live alone. And furthermore, I don't like cats." "Meow," said the cat, looking cold and sad. "I can't keep it," said the mail carrier. "Oh, bother," said Mr. Flugel. Then he looked at the cat. "Meow," said the cat, looking back with big yellow eyes. "Well, I guess I can keep it for today," said Mr. Flugel, "but tomorrow it must go." Mr. Flugel took the cat in and gave it a saucer of milk. Then he went about his chores. "Meow," said the cat, as Mr. Flugel washed the dishes. "It's no use trying to talk to me," said Mr. Flugel. "I don't like cats." So the cat kept quiet and just watched. Mr. Flugel whistled while he washed the dishes. "It's funny," he said to himself. "I haven't whistled in years." The day passed and it was time to go to bed. The cat curled up beside Mr. Flugel and said, "Meow." "It's no use trying to talk to me," said Mr. Flugel. "I just don't like cats." So the cat just lay there, purring gently. The purring put Mr. Flugel to sleep as soon as he closed his eyes. The next morning, Mr. Flugel took the cat out in his car and drove to a dairy farm nearby. "This is where I will leave you. You'll like it here," Mr. Flugel said. "I just don't like cats," Mr. Flugel said to himself as he drove away. Mr. Flugel went to bed that night and said, "That's that." But the next morning, very early, the doorbell rang. It was the dairy farmer. He had a big orange cat in his arms. "Is this your cat?" asked the dairy farmer. "I found it in one of my empty milk cans." "No," said Mr. Flugel, who was surprised to see the cat again. "I don't like cats." "Meow," said the cat, looking hopeful. "I can't keep it," said the dairy farmer. "Oh, bother," said Mr. Flugel. Then he looked at the cat. The cat looked back and purred. "Well, I suppose I can keep it for today," said Mr. Flugel with a sigh, "but tomorrow it must go." Mr. Flugel took the cat in and gave it a scrambled egg for breakfast. Then he went to sit in his chair. "Meow," said the cat as it played with Mr. Flugel's robe. "It's no use trying to play with me," said Mr. Flugel. "I don't like cats." So the cat just played with a piece of paper as Mr. Flugel watched. "Silly cat," he said to himself. The next day, Mr. Flugel took the cat out in the car again. "I will take you far away this time so that you won't come back," he said. Mr. Flugel drove and drove until he came to a flying school. There were several other cats around. "You'll have plenty of company here," said Mr. Flugel. "Meow," said the cat. "No, you can't stay with me," answered Mr. Flugel. "I told you, I don't like cats." Mr. Flugel left the cat at the flying school and drove home again. "That's that," he said. The next morning, while Mr. Flugel was working on his house, someone jumped right onto his roof. It was a skydiver. She had a big orange cat in her arms. "Is this your cat?" asked the skydiver. "It jumped right out of the plane with me as we flew over your house." "No," said Mr. Flugel, rolling his eyes. "It's not my cat. It never was my cat, and I don't want it to be my cat." "Well, I can't keep it," said the skydiver. "And anyway, it seems to like you." "Meow," said the cat, looking at Mr. Flugel lovingly. "Oh, bother," Mr. Flugel said with a sigh. "Well, I guess I'll have to keep you for today," he said, "but tomorrow you must go for good." Mr. Flugel went back to his work. "Meow," said the cat as it lay in the sun. "Oh, really?" said Mr. Flugel. "Well, I didn't miss you." "Meow," said the cat softly. "Stuff and nonsense," said Mr. Flugel. The next morning, Mr. Flugel looked at the cat and said, "I really must get rid of you today. You know I don't like cats." He thought and thought about what to do. All of a sudden, Mr. Flugel had the best idea of all. "Since you were found in my mailbox," he said, "I will let the post office take care of you." That very same day, Mr. Flugel took the cat to the post office. "I want to mail this cat somewhere far, far away," he said to the postal clerk. "How about the North Pole?" said the postal clerk. "That's far, far away, and we have a nice warm post office there." Mr. Flugel looked down at the cat. The cat reached up and licked his face. "Stuff and nonsense," said Mr. Flugel as he wiped off the kiss. Then, without knowing why, he suddenly asked, "Will they take good care of it at the North Pole post office?" "Of course," answered the postal clerk, looking offended. "We always take good care of the mail, especially at Christmas time." And without another word, he took the cat into the package room. The next day, the cat did not come back. It did not come back the day after, or the day after that. "Well, I guess that's that," said Mr. Flugel as he washed the dishes. He tried to whistle, but nothing came out. More days passed, and still the cat did not come back. "Well," said Mr. Flugel a little quietly, "I guess that's that." He climbed into bed, but for some reason he couldn't fall asleep. "Stuff and nonsense," he murmured. "I'm just not tired." Now, it just so happened that the next day was Christmas Eve. Mr. Flugel watched from his window as people hurried to and fro, their arms filled with presents. "Stuff and nonsense," he sniffed. Mr. Flugel didn't have any friends, so he never expected any presents for Christmas. Just then, for no good reason, he thought of the cat. "I wonder what that silly cat is doing now," he mused as he sat in his chair. "It's a good thing I don't like cats," he said to himself, "or I might miss it." Just before midnight, Mr. Flugel went to bed. But when he got under the covers, he tossed and turned and couldn't get to sleep. When he finally did go to sleep, he started to dream. He dreamed that he was doing his chores and the cat was watching him. He dreamed that he was sitting in his chair and the cat was playing with his robe. He dreamed that he was in bed and the cat was purring beside him. He smiled to himself and reached over to pet it. Then he woke up and remembered that the cat was gone. All of a sudden, he felt very sad and lonely. "Stuff and nonsense," he whispered as he laid his head upon his pillow. "I don't even like cats." Just then, someone rang his doorbell. He ran down to answer it. It was Santa Claus. He had a big orange cat in his arms. "Is this your cat?" asked Santa. "I found it hiding in my sled at the North Pole." Mr. Flugel had been so used to saying no that he almost said it again. But suddenly he cried, yes, it is my cat." "Meow," said the cat. "I'm glad you're back too," said Mr. Flugel, stroking the cat's soft fur. Then Mr. Flugel turned to Santa. "But how did you know it was my cat?" he asked. Instead of answering, Santa just gave Mr. Flugel a wink and a nod and hopped into his sled. Mr. Flugel waved goodbye as Santa's sled disappeared over the treetops. "Meow," said the cat. "I missed you too," said Mr. Flugel. "Meow," said the cat. "Merry Christmas to you too," answered Mr. Flugel as he gave his cat a big hug. "You're the best Christmas present I could ever want." This was one of my favorite Christmas stories growing up, and it reminds us how happy we can be if we open ourselves to love.
Hi everybody, welcome to week 4 of your Advent adventure. And the story this week was the very best Christmas present. And as you've already heard, Mr. Frugal took in the stray cat, but he was determined he wasn't going to keep it. And he actually ended up sending it to the North Pole, but Santa knew he was going to miss this cat. So he got the cat back. Santa brought the cat back, and Mr. Frugal was very excited and happy to have him back. So this week's craft is an easy craft. All you need for this craft is some white paper and a marker or a pencil. Sometimes I like to draw with a pencil. Now, I can't take credit for this week's craft. I'm just going to show you this. I actually went on YouTube, and there's a video on there, how to draw a cute cat Christmas drawing, step by, and then all there was a ... but I'm presuming that means step by step because that's what it is. So if you have access to a computer or a tablet or something like that, you can go on YouTube and just search for how to draw a cute cat Christmas drawing, and it should pop up there, and you can do it along with the artist who draws on YouTube, or I'm going to do it as well. But again, I can't take credit for this. I watched the YouTube video as well. So let's see how I do with drawing a Christmas cat. So let's get started. You need your paper. I actually prefer to draw with a pencil. I'm going to do it with a marker because I want you to be able to see it really well. So get everything you need and let's get started. Okay, I'm going to hold it up. So hopefully you can see here. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of these U-shaped lines, which are going to be the face of my cat. And then my cat is going to have an ear on this side. His other ear is actually going to be under a Santa hat. So there we go. There's the ear. It's just kind of two curved lines like this. And then you're going to do a little line up and make this one a little bit longer. And then you're going to draw a line across here and then a line across here. And that makes kind of the cuff on the Santa hat. So then we've got like a big curved line that kind of comes down like this because it's a stocking hat. And we're going to do a little line up here and then another curve down here. And there's the stocking hat, but it's missing the pom-pom at the bottom. So there's the pom-pom. So my cat needs to have a face. So one eye, like I say, it's going to be very simple. Nothing too complicated. But if you want to add more detail, then absolutely you can do that. And then, of course, the little nose. And the little nose is like a upside down triangle. And then it's like a forward J, backward J, and then whiskers. And there's the face of my cat. Okay, so next we need his body. So we're going to do a straight line down here, and then we're going to do a paw. Here we go. And then, oh, sorry, I better hold it up a little higher. I was very involved with what I was doing. Okay, so then we've got to do the back leg. So it's kind of more of a curve. And it's going to come down to the paw. But then it's going to have a line like that. So it's more of the back leg. But my cat looks kind of funny because it doesn't have a tail. So let's add the tail. Here we go. So there's the tail for my cat. And then we're just going to join these two lines. That would be his little belly. Here we go. And, oh yeah, he has another front paw here. So we're just going to add that other front paw there. There. And there's my Christmas cat. So I hope that you can do this maybe as a family, get your brothers or sisters to join in, mom, dad, and see what everybody's drawings look like, because like I say, they're all going to be different. Now, the fun part is that once you're done your drawing, then you can take your crayons. Let's see, sometimes these reds are kind of funny. I think this is a red. Yeah, this is kind of like a Santa hat red. So color your Santa hat, and then you can decide what color your cat wants to be. You can add any other details you like to your picture. Maybe you want to do a Christmas tree in the background or a Christmas present, but have fun drawing your Christmas cat. And if you want to share it with somebody, you can always give it away as a little gift. I'm sure people would love to have a drawing, or again, display it on your fridge for everybody to see. Okay, have fun drawing your Christmas cat, and we'll see you next week for our very last story in the Advent Adventure. Bye for now.
Jingle, meow, meow, jingle, Christmas cat. Santa brought him back to me, how wonderful is that? How is that my Christmas cat came back to me to play? I shooed him away on a grumpy day, and how I wish he'd stayed. Jingle, meow, meow, jingle, Christmas cat. Santa brought him back to me, how wonderful is that? I realized the joy he brought, a friend with lots of love. I wished I had invited him to sit upon my lap. Jingle, meow, meow, jingle, Christmas cat. Santa brought him back to me, how wonderful is that? Now we play under my tree, I gently stroke his fur. He throws the toy mouse in the air, and then I hear him purr. Jingle, meow, meow, jingle, Christmas cat. Santa brought him back to me, how wonderful is that? Jingle, meow, jingle, Christmas cat. Santa brought him back to me.